The moment I saw my sister-in-law standing by the riverbank clutching that dark, heavy-looking case like her life depended on it, something inside me told me to stop her. The look in her eyes wasn't normal. It was desperate, wild even. She kept glancing over her shoulder, muttering under her breath, and then, without hesitation, she hurled the case into the rushing water. I still remember the splash. The sound cut through the silence of the afternoon, echoing like a scream. I froze for a moment, trying to process what I had just witnessed. Why was she throwing something into the river, and why did she look so terrified? The current started to pull the case away, sinking it deeper and deeper until it disappeared completely beneath the surface. That's when she turned and saw me. Her face went pale. "You didn't see anything," she hissed, her voice trembling but sharp. "You stay out of this." But I couldn't just forget what I saw, because deep down, I knew whatever was inside that case wasn't supposed to be there. "Tell me, if you saw someone in your family throw a suspicious case into a river like that, would you have done what I did next?" Let me take you back to how it all started. My name is Daniel, and for years I thought I knew my family inside out. I'm married to a wonderful woman named Emily, and her sister, Jessica, my sister-in-law, had always been a bit complicated. She was beautiful, charming, but also manipulative. The kind of person who could make you feel guilty even when you hadn't done anything wrong. After Emily and I got married, Jessica started visiting our home frequently. Sometimes I wondered if she came for Emily or just to snoop around. She always had that fake smile plastered on her face, the one that never reached her eyes. Things started to change after their parents passed away. They left behind an old family house, some savings, and a small collection of jewelry that had been in their family for generations. Emily, being the older and more responsible sister, was named executor of the estate. Jessica didn't take it well. She accused Emily of hogging everything, even though Emily was only following their parents' will. That was when the tension began. At first, it was small arguments: who got which item, what to sell, what to keep. But soon, it escalated into shouting matches and bitter texts. I tried to stay out of it, but Emily would often cry to me at night, telling me how her sister had changed. "She's not the same person I grew up with," she said one night, her voice breaking. "It's like she's obsessed with money, with control, with something else." I didn't know what she meant at the time, but I would soon find out. About 3 months after their parents' funeral, Jessica called out of the blue, asking to meet Emily at the old family house. She said she wanted to make peace. I was skeptical, but Emily wanted to believe her sister. So that evening, we drove down to the house, place filled with dusty furniture, old memories, and too many ghosts of the past. When we arrived, Jessica greeted us warmly, maybe too warmly. She had dinner prepared, candles lit, and a nervous energy about her that didn't feel right. During dinner, she kept steering the conversation toward the jewelry, especially their mother's sapphire necklace. It was the most valuable piece in the collection, rumored to be worth tens of thousands. Emily had insisted on keeping it safe in a locked chest until they could decide what to do with it. Jessica, however, couldn't stop bringing it up. "Maybe we should sell it," she said. "Split the money. It's not doing anyone any good sitting in a box." Emily refused, gently at first, but Jessica's tone shifted. Her smile vanished. "You always have to be the good one, huh?" She snapped. "Always doing what's right? Maybe you think you're better than me." Emily tried to calm her down, but Jessica stormed out of the room. We thought she needed space, but when we went to check on her, she was gone, and so was the locked chest. We searched the house from top to bottom, but there was no sign of her. Emily was frantic, calling Jessica's phone over and over, but it went straight to voicemail. It wasn't until the next morning that we saw her again, by the river. That's when I saw her toss the case into the water. My instincts kicked in. I didn't know what was in that case: jewelry, money, documents, but I knew it wasn't hers to destroy. So after she left, I came back that night with a flashlight and a rope. The river was freezing and the current was strong. Every part of me screamed to turn back, but I couldn't. I needed to know the truth. I tied the rope around a tree and waded into the water, feeling around with my feet until I hit something hard and metallic. It was the case. Dragging it back to the bank took all my strength. It was heavier than I expected, like it was filled with stones. My hands were shaking as I pried it open. What I found inside made me stumble backward. Inside wasn't jewelry or money or papers. It was a pile of sealed envelopes, each labeled with names, people I didn't recognize, and bundles of cash wrapped in rubber bands. But the thing that truly sent chills down my spine was a small blood-stained handkerchief folded neatly on top of the cash. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind was racing with possibilities. What if Jessica was involved in something criminal, laundering Mel, or worse? I told Emily what I found and she went pale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Dan, you don't think she..." She couldn't even finish the sentence. We decided to hide the case for the night and confront Jessica the next morning. But before we could, she showed up at our door. Her face was calm, but her eyes were cold. "You shouldn't have gone back there," she said flatly. "That wasn't yours to take." I stood my ground. "Then tell me what it was, Jessica. What's in that case?" She smirked. "You wouldn't understand. You just can't leave things alone." "Can you?" That's when I realized she wasn't scared. She was angry that I had found her secret. Emily tried to reason with her, but Jessica lost it. She screamed, accused us of betrayal, and stormed out again. I knew I had to make a decision. Do I call the police and risk tearing the family apart, or do I give her one more chance to explain herself? That was the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause for a second and tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you go to the police, or would you try to handle it within the family? The next day, things took an even darker turn. I received a call from an unknown number. A man's voice, low and threatening, said, "Stay out of it, Daniel." That case doesn't belong to. Then he hung up. My heart pounded in my chest. Who was that? How did he know my name? I realized Jessica wasn't acting alone. Emily and I decided we couldn't stay quiet anymore. We took the case to the police and told them everything. They opened an investigation, and within days, everything started to unravel. It turned out that Jessica had been working with a man named Victor, a known scammer who had been running a fake charity ring. They'd been taking money from donors, promising it would go to children's hospitals, but instead they pocketed most of it. The envelopes I found contained payment records, names of donors, and amounts collected. The blood-stained handkerchief belonged to a man who had tried to expose them. He had gone missing weeks earlier. When the police questioned Jessica, she tried to deny everything. But the evidence was overwhelming. The case, the money, the handkerchief, it was all tied back to her. She broke down during interrogation and confessed that she and Victor had panicked when the police started closing in. She tried to destroy the evidence by throwing it into the river. The trial was brutal. Emily sat there holding my hand, tears streaming down her face as her sister pleaded guilty to fraud, obstruction, and accessory to assault. Jessica was sentenced to several years in prison. Victor fled the country but was caught months later. The hardest part wasn't the trial. It was watching Emily lose the last piece of family she had left. Even after everything Jessica had done, Emily still loved her. She visited her once in prison, hoping for closure, but Jessica refused to speak. She just stared blankly, as if the sister she once knew had vanished forever. In the months that followed, we tried to rebuild our lives. The story made local news, and for a while, we couldn't even go grocery shopping without people whispering behind our backs. But deep down, I knew we had done the right thing. If we hadn't acted, more people would have suffered because of Jessica's greed. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that moment by the river, the splash, the fear, the weight of that case in my hands. It's strange how one small decision can change everything. If I hadn't gone back, if I had just listened to her and stayed out of it, I would have never uncovered the truth. So tell me, was I wrong for going after that case? Should I have just walked away? I still wonder sometimes if things could have turned out differently. All I know is sometimes doing the right thing means losing people you love. And even though it hurts, the truth has a way of setting you free, no matter how deep it's buried. If you were on my side in this story, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real life stories like this one. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you saw your own family hiding something like that? Would you dig for the truth or let the past stay buried? I'll see you all in the next story.